On June 21st, for National Indigenous Peoples Day, we recognize and celebrate the history, heritage, and resilience and diversity of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis across Canada. For generations, many Indigenous groups and communities have celebrated their culture and heritage on June 21st, or around that time of year, because of the significance of the summer solstice as the longest day of the year. National Aboriginal Day, now National Indigenous Peoples Day, was announced in 1996 by then Governor-General of Canada, Romeo Leblanc, through the proclamation declaring June 21st of each year as National Aboriginal Day. This was the result of consultations and statements of support for which a day made by various Indigenous groups. In 1982, the National Indian Brotherhood, now the Assembly of First Nations, called for the creation of National Aboriginal Solidarity Day. In 1995, the Sacred Assembly, a national conference of Indigenous and non-Indigenous people chaired by Elijah Harper, called for a national holiday to celebrate the contributions of Indigenous peoples. Also in 1995, the Royal Commission on Aboriginal Peoples recommended the designation of a National First Peoples Day. On June 21st, 2017, the Prime Minister issued a statement announcing the intention to rename this day National Indigenous Peoples Day. National Indigenous Peoples Day is part of the Celebrate Canada program, which also includes Saint Jean-Baptiste Day on June 24th, Canadian Multiculturalism Day on June 27th, and Canada Day on July 1st. The Government of Canada provides funding opportunities for community celebratory events, as well as for commemorations on the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. We encourage you to participate in activities in your community to learn more about the richness and diversity of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis cultural expressions and stories. You can also download and share National Indigenous History Month and National Indigenous Peoples Day images, and join the conversation on social media with the hashtag NIHM2023 and NIPD2023. And I read that from the Government of Canada website. And there's a graphic on this website. I'll try to describe it for you. It's vibrant pastel colors that range from yellow to indigo, and it transitions from yellow to orange to red to violet to aquamarine and to indigo, and it's kind of cloud-like. It's soft and ethereal, and there's written 21, and then above that, much smaller font, June, and then there's 3 graphics that have been appended to the 2. There is a blue narwhal, there is a golden eagle, and there is the full multicolored head of a fiddle. I found this graphic quite interesting because just the vibrancy of these colors they're really warm, and it draws my eye, and it's just a sense of comfort and awe just by the colors alone. And the focusing on 21 instead of the word June was a nice effect with the fonting. I really liked the pictorial symbols chosen because it reminded me how vast Canada is. Because really, of those symbols, only one is really observable frequently in the last mountain region. We're generally landlocked here. We have a large lake, but we're landlocked in the middle of the continent, so we don't see a lot of narwhals. Those are reserved for the Arctic and for the oceans. We do have eagles that we see occasionally here, but and some hawks, but not golden eagles. But the fiddle, I think that's an instrument that's pretty much universal across Canada among First Nations, and certainly the vast Métis nation. So I just thought that was kind of interesting that the two animal symbols, maybe not everyone in Canada can share, but maybe we can all agree that we can relate culturally to First Nations people because of the power of their music and the violin being repurposed into being the fiddle that we all recognize and enjoy. The solstices have always been a special day in my family. It's the longest day of the year, the shortest night of the year. For us, this was often the where we feel the most energy, and maybe even the hardest day to sleep throughout the year. And then from now on, for the next 6 months, the days get shorter again. So that's just within my own family. It's under the guidance of my mom. And for our First Nations people, that word resilience really stood out for me, because for a long time I've had some awareness of their connection to the land and knowledge and connection to medicines and animals. But it's that resilience that for generations upon generations, especially after the settlers arrive, I can relate on a very, very slight level from the experiences of myself and my family. Because I have a sense of what resilience is, but not on that scale, and not over generations. So when I read that Government of Canada write-up, that word stood out for me. That, you get goosebumps when you think about it. That just there's power, there's a spirituality, there's a pride, a toughness, and a humility that just words will fail you to comprehend the depth of achievement that and the depth of ability and the accomplishments that exist amongst our First Nations peoples, or amongst Canadian First Nation Indigenous people. Yeah, just observe the art, and it will say a lot. It's a special day. I get to. It's not yet a completely national holiday. It's tricky. So, anyways, there's still work for me, but able to book most of the day off through some programming with my employer. They have a volunteer support program, and for 6 hours today I just get to immerse myself with some of the festivities and celebrations and sounds and sights of first, Indigenous cultures. That will be special. My oldest daughter, we might get to see each other, because class field trip in to experience the event, and my wife might just be able to take a moment from her work to enjoy the festival. Something else, we get the opening ceremonies are at 10 o'clock, and it's an experience, because one of the other senses that are involved is your nose. There's the sweet grass, and there's leather and suede and metals from the jingling bells, and there's beadwork, and there's the smell of feathers and fur, and just healthy, strong, connected people. And there's drums and singing and different languages spoken than I get to hear frequently. So it's just a dancing and a twinkling for the different senses. And with those drums, with that many people and the singing, it's so strong. It echoes in your chest and in some of your hollow organs, so you could really feel it in your gut and in your chest, and that transforms my body in the moment, and then certainly for some times afterwards. So it's truly going to be a special day, and one to remember. And one to be thoughtful and careful and just more purposeful in my movements and my word choices and my behavior, because I'm learning to forge stronger, deeper relationships with the people around me. And to do that properly means being more thoughtful in my behavior and seeing each action as a little choice and taking a little pause before my movements, which is different from the behavior of a child, which can be at times reactionary, and this gets to be moments of just crafting my responses to my environment and surroundings, really just one little moment at a time. Because one of the things, as we get older, we develop habits. So the things we do every day become more familiar, easier and easier. Making connections with people is familiar. It's not a habit, and it's something for me to do with care. Hmm. All for now.